My first question is the bombing of Gaza Strip to destroy Hamas military targets a justified action? Can it be justified in that proportion?
Look, Henry, I'm going to give a long answer. I do not consider myself qualified to say whether it's justified or not. There are too many people willing to take sides. Some say it is justified, some say it is not justified. What I would say is the attack on innocent Israelis that happened on the 7th of October, the worst attack on Jews since the Holocaust. I don't have words for that. I mean, I go for cruel, I go for barbarous, I go for despicable. All these words fail. And I try to put myself into I have Jewish friends, I have Israeli friends. I try and put myself into their shoes and how I would react if that was my country people were attacked. But then I see what has happened. 1,400 people, I think, perished in those barbarous attacks, and since then, that has doubled. For the 3,000 is the latest figure I've heard of mostly innocent Palestinians, women and children, have been slaughtered in Israel's reprisal. I just don't feel capable of making a judgment on this. Of course, the killing of that 5,500 people is utterly evil and despicable, no matter where the killing comes from or which side the innocents are on. But I will say this: what has happened, Israel's response has been exactly what Hamas wanted. They are getting exactly what Hamas wanted. And what I would like to talk about is Russia's role in this. Because, I find it very, very strange. And I've just come off another interview in the UK where I spoke about this. I find it very, very strange that so few people are talking about Russia's role. I listened to John Bolton, the former security advisor to Donald Trump back in 2019. I listened to John Bolton being interviewed by one of our top political journalists, Andrew Marr, last night. And, he went right up to Iran. We all know that Iran backs Hamas and the web of relationships between Hamas and Hezbollah and other Islamic fundamentalist terrorist groups. But Bolton went right up to Iran, but stopped short. Now, two things. I have been doing my research for the last 48 hours. I've also been speaking to my contacts, some of them closely connected to our security services. I have been told very, very clearly that the fingerprints of Russia and the GRU in particular, that's Russia's military secret service, if you like, military intelligence, are all over this attack and have probably been all over it for a year. President Zelensky came out. Our leaders are not saying anything at the moment. President Zelensky came out on the 10th of October and said very, very clearly that Russia's fingerprints were all over this, and we're all over this going back a year. The level of the attack, we simply do not believe that Hamas had the capacity to carry out on their own. And let's look at one thing. There is what I would say at the moment, because I'm being very careful. I'm trying to be very careful. There is a huge amount of circumstantial evidence. I believe that our various security services probably have more than circumstantial evidence, and in their time, they will decide when to come out with that. That's above my pay grade, right? But who is the only one to benefit from this horrible, horrible situation that is probably approaching? Vladimir Putin. The answer is easy. Yeah. It has taken the heat and the attention off Vladimir Putin. He's gone off to meet Xi. Most of the world don't even recognize, his no limits friendship partner in China, who, as I've said before, is standing back and waiting to see how this comes out. Russia is the greatest threat to the world order and to peace in our world that we have at the moment. Russia is currently doing the dirty work with her axis of evil and partners that Russia has in its pocket. I talk about Iran. I talk about North Korea. I talk about Syria under Assad, not the Syrian people. And I talk about Belarus, of course, under Lukashenko, certainly not the Belarusian people. Right. And we have seen the very, very worrying signs of the expansion of BRICS and how India is leaning and so forth, and how Brazil may be leaning. So, sorry, Henry, I just don't feel, no, the slaughter of innocent civilians is not justified, whether they're Palestinians or whether they're Israelis. But I just don't feel qualified to,
Well, I mean,
at the moment, make a judgment
no one can
on
be
Israel
qualified.
because